Hey friends, thank you so much for joining us for this evening and spending a little bit of your time with us as we celebrate what God is doing through life choices. My name's Jack Eason. I'm privileged to kind of be the guest host for tonight, and I'll be back toward the end of our time together tonight to share with you a few thoughts. But I wanted to just brag on the incredible staff that God has blessed us with at Life Choices. In just a minute, you're going to hear from our executive director, Kelly Keating, and followed by her, Susan Bailey, who's our administrative assistant, and then a few testimonies about what God is doing right here through the ministry of Life Choices. After hearing from some of those clients and some of the testimonies about how God is moving here because of people just like you who have given and been praying for us, you're going to hear from Erin Engel, our client services director, as she kind of wraps up the time from the staff. And then I'll come back and share a few words with you tonight. Sit back, grab that cup of coffee, cup of sweet iced tea, whatever you got there at home or wherever you're watching, and enjoy tonight's presentation as we celebrate the power of God through life choices.
It's springtime and some of us are looking forward to planting a garden. Here at Life Choices, our work can be compared to gardening. We plan, prepare, plant, provide water and fertilizer for growth, and only then will our garden produce its bounty. Our task is to create a garden of grace, plant seeds of support, cultivate with compassion, winnow with wisdom, and reap a harvest of hope. This looks different for every client, and the seeds of sowing and reaping vary in length. Sometimes we barely get the garden gate open, only to see the storms come and damage our fragile seedlings. Many of our clients come to us as fragile seedlings. They need our tender and compassionate care. Sometimes we spend many years planting and never see the harvest. But like all farmers, we just keep planting. God didn't allow our garden to lie fallow during COVID. We came weekly and watered our garden. We faithfully tended the tender shoots. We showered our clients with diapers and wipes and car seats and whatever they needed. But most importantly, we provided prayer. We reaped a harvest in that tough season and learned how important our work is to our clients. They counted on us to keep pouring out living water in the season of drought. We did, and we reaped a bountiful harvest of increased trust that we would always be there to cover them in prayer and to help with the practical needs they have. None of what we do is possible without your help. We are not all called to get in the dirt, digging and planting, but we are all called to the harvest. Jesus tells us in Luke 10:2, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest to send out workers into his harvest field." Maybe God is calling you to be one of the workers, and maybe he is calling you to provide the seed. All of our services are free to our clients, and we cannot do this work without many laborers for the gospel. Whatever you decide, please know that we appreciate you, and our clients do too. Together we reap the harvest for the glory of God.
I'd like to share with you a few of the many reasons why we do what we do here, and we serve so many women and children and families in our community. So just a couple of examples, and all three of these clients I'm going to tell you about were actually abortion-minded and came here to discuss their choices and their options. So our first client, A, was very young, had gotten pregnant, and then was being pressured by her family and all around her to have an abortion and not keep the baby. And by the grace of God, we were able to work her in the schedule the very same day and get that life-saving ultrasound so that she could see this was not just a fetus, this was a baby. And in fact, she was further along than we had thought, meaning we were able to tell her that she was having a boy. And after she left that evening, we had no idea whether she was going to keep the baby or not. And we found out a few months later, actually, in fact, the very same week, that she went in to deliver her baby boy. And so there's just a little glimpse into how ultrasounds and the technology here can help save lives. Next would be our client B, who has been with us for quite a few years, had numerous pregnancies and miscarriages, and all along the way, she's come here to get our opinion and support and prayer. And every single day, she chooses life for herself and for her babies and children, because she's not going out and doing the things that hindered her in the past. She's actually trying to work very hard at bettering herself for her herself, but also for her children as well. And so finally, our last client, C, has been with us for quite a few years. She had a little boy, was 2 when she came to us and pregnant with her second child. And we walked with her through all those weeks and months throughout her pregnancy, giving her the support and the love and the care that she doesn't get outside of this building with family or without family. We were so excited when she had the baby boy. And then a few months ago, as many of our clients do, they get pregnant again rather quickly between the children's ages. And this one was the same. She was expecting, came to us, and was just crying and so upset and not knowing what to do. And I never realized that probably half of our abortion-minded clients here actually have already had babies and children of their own. And so then this child comes along and seems to be another hindrance or another problem that they have to deal with instead of being a joy and a gift from God. So there's all different shapes and sizes and ways that the girls and clients come to us. But a lot of them just say that, we do our curriculum with them every week. They get diapers and wipes and their tangible material needs met, but they also get their love tanks filled. They get support, emotional support, physical support. We're there for these girls every step of the way. And that's why we need you to join our team so we can reach further and more moms.
Hello, my name is Wakila Mangum, and I've been coming here probably 12 years. My son is 11, so 12 years, and with this current pregnancy. Coming to Life's Choices has helped me to, I guess you can say, relieve stress. Because sometimes, when you're pregnant, you experience a lot of emotional changes. And sometimes you feel like you're a burden on your family to want to hear all these problems all the time. And so at Life Choices, they listen to you, they pray with you, and that's just what they do.
I'm Jessica. I've been coming to Life Choices for about a year now, although COVID messed up some appointments. I choose to come to Life Choices because the staff is very helpful and everyone's friendly and it's a no judgment kind of zone. We found out we were pregnant right before the pandemic hit, and then my husband was already laid off, and then the pandemic hitting, it was hard for him to find work. So Life Choices helped me get everything that I needed for my baby in a time that we would have been struggling. And it's been nice to have support during the pandemic and have somebody to talk to, and you're so closed off from the world.
I'm Candace, and I've been coming to Life Choices for about 4 years now. I choose to come to Life Choices because the godliness that they surround themselves with, and the peer support and the pregnancy support, which is very good here, and the fact that they do counseling as well. Life Choices has impacted me a lot. Because even when I lost my child due to CHD, they were there for me. Through prayers, through just everything. And that's one of the main reasons why I choose to come. And the fact that my prayer life has been better than it usually has.
My name is Kimberly Williamson, and I've been coming to Life Choices for about 5 or 6 months now. I choose to come to Life Choices because everybody is extremely friendly here, and they have so much information that I can use to help raise my daughter in the best way possible. Before Life Choices, I had no idea what I was doing or if I was raising my kid the right way, but since I've come here, they've given me so many learning materials and so much information and gave me the confidence to be a better parent and know that I'm doing the right thing and I'm on the right track now.
Though these women Susan told you about came to us in crisis, most of our moms are actually quite excited to be expecting. Every now and then we will counsel an abortion-minded woman, but most of our clients know without any doubt that they want to keep and raise their baby. You see, while we do serve the teenage mom who's still trying to finish high school, many of our moms are seasoned moms, like Wakila and Jessica, married even. We are absolutely ready to help in crisis, but our services more often look like offering support and resources to a mom who just needs a little extra help. Choosing life doesn't just mean choosing not to abort. Most days, choosing life looks more like a woman choosing to come and learn how to be the very best mom she can be. Most days, choosing life looks like choosing to take advantage of our resources so she can adequately provide for her child. Some days, choosing life looks like being vulnerable and building trusting relationships with us when she has no other healthy relationships in her life. Some days, choosing life looks like finally admitting she needs help. Not to minimize the sanctity of the life of the preborn, never. But choosing life is so much more than that. We are choosing life for our clients every time we encourage her to make another appointment and continue to grow as a mom. We're choosing life for our clients every time we help her plan how she'll earn the items needed to care for her newborn. We are choosing life for our clients every time we ask how she's doing and listen as she opens up and pours out her heart to us. We are choosing life for our clients every time we ask how we can pray for her and then boldly approach the throne of grace and intercede for her. We are absolutely 100% pro-life. We are pro-life for the unborn, but we are also pro-life for mom. We want to encourage, educate, and empower her. We want to see her set and meet goals. We want to see her get sober and clean. We want to see her make responsible decisions and good life choices that will lead to a more stable home life for her family. We want to see her recognize that she no longer has to live with an abuser. This is also what choosing life looks like. Jesus said, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they might have life and have it abundantly." Ultimately, our greatest hope is that we would see our moms choose the abundant life Jesus offers and abound in hope, like our theme verse from Romans says. It is a privilege every time we get to share the good news of the gospel with these women. You see, we can provide diapers and baby clothes and car seats. We can help teach her how to sleep train her infant or persevere in breastfeeding. We can help get her the resources she needs, give her options, walk with her on her journey when everyone else has given up on her. But if we fail to point her to Jesus, it's all in vain. Our resources will run out, and our counsel is wildly insufficient. He is the remedy. He is her greatest and deepest need. Would you join me in praying for one in 2021? This is our first goal of the new year. We are praying for God to save one of our clients this year, and we are full of hope and believe that He will.
Thank you, Erin. Wow. Hearing the stories of what God is doing through this pregnancy center is encouraging, isn't it? I mean, wow. This past year, 14 months has been like no other as our entire world has been turned upside down. And yet Life Choices has continued to march on with the hope of transforming the lives of not just young ladies, but of course, seasoned moms as well that Erin mentioned, and dads too, the whole family. You know, when I think about what Life Choice is doing, I think about the word transformation. And that's what I want to see happen when I get involved with a ministry and an organization. I've had the privilege to serve pregnancy centers for almost 15 years around the country and helping them and speaking on their behalf because life is important. And life just doesn't mean protecting the unborn. It means walking that path with those families, those moms who have that baby and giving them the skills and the encouragement and the support necessary to raise that child in a way that would honor God and hopefully that child come to know Jesus Christ. Tonight's very important. It's very important that you're watching. And so I want to say thank you for sitting back and watching. As I think about what to share tonight, I thought about this scripture verse, which is pretty important and appropriate as we've been kind of in a waiting mode for the last 14 months in our world. Psalm 27, verse 13 and 14 says, "I remain confident of this, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. And that's what a lot of us have been doing over these last 14 months, sitting back, waiting to see what God is going to do. And as a guy who runs a nonprofit of my own, with the work that we do in the Dominican Republic, I know how important it is to have people like you on board. Those that are praying, those that are giving sacrificially and supporting financially. This ministry would not survive without people like you. And God has taught me a lot over the last several years about getting involved financially with organizations. And He's taught me a lot about money as well when it comes to how to make my money count. I'm sure you've heard that quote before. It is one that you maybe are familiar with from Helen Keller, who said, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision." Tonight, I want to ask you to catch a vision for what God is doing through Life Choices. He is at work. He is transforming the lives of families all over our area because of the work that Susan and Kelly and Aaron and the entire team are doing through this ministry. And I want you to catch a vision for what God can do through you. Perhaps tonight really is not so much about Life Choices as it is about God seeing if He can trust you with the resources He's given you that belong to Him anyway. You know, I was thinking as I was listening to the President of the United States just a couple of weeks ago talk about additional stimulus money for us. There are a lot of us that during the COVID-19 pandemic weren't affected. Some of us were affected, but a lot of us weren't affected all that much. Maybe some of us run businesses or have jobs to where because of COVID-19, we were needed more than ever before. I want to ask you tonight to consider getting involved financially with this ministry so that you can make a difference and so that God can use your resources to make a difference through people. You know, it's true, God uses people. It's His plan A. I guess it was probably 2 or 3 years ago that our family had a consistent Bible study at our home on Sunday evenings. And we developed a relationship with one of those families that would come. We discovered pretty early into that relationship that this young guy had served in the military in Afghanistan. He was married, had 4 children, and he came back from that service with some really bad physical problems because of biological, chemical warfare that was done on his team. And he struggled to keep a job. Long story short, we found out they were about to be evicted out of their home. And over the course of a couple of weeks, behind the scenes, our Bible study group began to collect money. They showed up that following Sunday night, and our team handed him a basket of money. Some people had given a little, some people had given a lot. It wasn't really about equal giving. It was about equal sacrifice, which is what tonight really is about as well. And turns out, as he began to look at that basket and sift through the money that kept them in their home for several more months, he began to weep. And I'll never forget what he tried to say. He was just trying to say, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And before I could give a profound answer, someone in our group spoke up and said, because that's what family does. That's what family does. Tonight, Life Choices is calling on family, the family of God. I think now in our culture, now more than ever, it is so important that we as brothers and sisters in Christ step up and fund the things of God, where God is working, where He's moving, where He's transforming the lives of people. And that's what tonight is about. So we're asking you to get involved and be a part of our team. And as Erin shared there at the end of her time, one of the hopes is that we'll continue to see more people come to know Jesus Christ through this ministry. That's one of the great promises you and I have for those of us who know Christ, is that we have this incredible hope that we're getting ready to celebrate here very shortly with Easter. And we celebrate, it's not a wish. It's not like I hope tonight that my wife is going to make the meatloaf that I like. It's not that kind of hope. It's a confident expectation in Jesus Christ. We can be sure of that. And that is the hope that Life Choices shares with each and every person that comes through the doors of this center. So I'm asking you to get involved tonight. And I'm going to be kind of walking you through that process in just a minute. But before I do, I just wanted to share one other story, one other thought, because God has oftentimes taught me through my kids about the importance of giving. And I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago, we got to go on a trip out of the country to Malawi, Africa. And I remember we had the privilege to go serve people, and out in the middle of nowhere, really, thatched huts all around, serving people and praying for people. And we had a children's Bible school, kind of backyard Bible club type thing happening. And I'll never forget our missionary there, Pastor Mark Zimbiri, walking with him over to one little hut, and he pointed at a little garden that this family had. And he said, Jack, he said, the problem with this little garden is sometimes in the evenings, the monkeys will come in from the jungle and they will steal the food that these people have planted. And they will walk away, and they will run away with the food. And for people here who make, about $1 every couple of days, he said, that's a big deal. And I said, Pastor Mark, what do you do? What do you do when this happens? How do you deal with that? And he said to me, well, Pastor Jack, we do something incredible. He said, do you have gourds in the States? I said, a gourd? I know what a gourd is. I said, yes. He said, well, we take those gourds and we hollow them out. We fill them up with fresh fruit, and we put that gourd in the middle of the garden. In the evening, the monkey smells the fruit, comes into the garden, sticks his hand into the hole in the side of that gourd and grabs on to that fruit. And because he can't get his hand back out, he just sits down there on the ground. And the next morning, the family wakes up, and they go out and they see the monkey, and they capture him, and they carry him back out into the jungle, and they set him free. As Pastor Mark is sharing with me this story, I said to him, Pastor Mark, you have just described perhaps the North American church. And he said, really, what do you mean? I said, sometimes that is us. The very thing that God has given to us to use for His glory, for our benefit, for the benefit of other people, finances. I said, sometimes in the States we cling on to that, and we don't realize that very thing that God intended for us to use to make an impact, we cling on to, and it becomes bondage for us. We sit down and we're trapped by it. Tonight I'm reminded, as I think about that story, I'm reminded about what we're doing tonight through Life Choices. And I'm reminded of Psalm 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. God owns it all. And tonight, He is asking you and I to partner with Him. Really, we're not giving to Life Choices tonight. We're giving through Life Choices to make an impact on the lives of people, to partner with the Creator of the universe, to do something that we cannot do by ourselves. So tonight, I would ask you this. Would you be a part of the team that God wants to put together? It takes a lot of people. I know when I was a young little lad in junior high school, I was a little husky. And I was sometimes the last one picked to play basketball. And people would pick everybody else, and I'd be the last one standing. Tonight, you are our first choice. No last picks. You're the first pick to help fund this ministry and to see what God is going to do in the future. So I want you to join us. Some of you tonight can do some heavy lifting. I think about the scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. And some of you tonight could step up with a $5,000, $10,000 gift. Isn't it time that ministries that are doing the work of God no longer limp along, but they have the funds needed to accomplish the task and the mission that God has called them to? I think it is. And I think that God's plan A for that to happen is using the people of God to do it. So I want to invite you, Susan and Aaron, and the whole team here, they want to invite you to get involved tonight. And so I want you to pray and just to say, Lord, what would you have me do tonight to get involved with Life Choices? What would you have me to do? I know Kelly is praying as well tonight for you to be a part of the incredible team that is needed here to fund this ministry over the next several months. And so as you pray tonight, I would ask you in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to grab your computer. I know many of you are at home. You can grab your iPad, your laptop. And I'm going to walk you through very simply how to get involved tonight and how to make a difference with God's help. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm tremendously blessed. I read the statistic just a few weeks ago that if in the United States of America, you and your family make more or have more annual income than $15,000, which we would say that's poverty level. But if you and your family have an annual income of $15,000 or more, you realize you're in the top 5% of wealth on the planet. I think one of Satan's greatest strategies is to make us think that we don't have a lot. And the reality is most of us listening could give a significant gift tonight. Some of you could give a one-time gift now and then stand with this ministry on a monthly basis. And I'm asking many of you to get on board and to do that tonight. I remember, last story I would share with you tonight, I remember coming back from my first trip out of this country into the third world, and coming back and showing my kids who were young at the time, about 7 and 5, we were sitting on the couch, we were looking at some pictures, and I just started to weep. I couldn't even talk. My wife kind of leaned around the kitchen corner and she said, I'm going to send you on an errand so you can collect your senses and get yourself together. And I jumped in the car and I headed to the grocery store. And I remember walking into the grocery aisles, and she had sent me to pick up some paper towels, some bread, some cereal. I remember heading over to the cereal aisle and counting 45, 46, 50, 61, 62 brands, flavors, fruity this, fruity that, fiber this, that, all the different kinds of cereal that we have. We have tons of options. We have tons of options. For a lot of the ladies and the dads to be, the families that are coming through the doors of Life Choices, they don't have many options for a lot of different reasons. But God has led them through the doors of Life Choices. And what the team wants to see happen is when those people come through, they're prepared with the resources to share the truth of God and the hope of God. And that's where you and I come in. Isn't that amazing that God allows us to be a partner in ministry? Wow. It's amazing to me. So tonight, I want to ask you, if you would, to grab your computer, your laptop, your tablet, and I'm going to walk you through how to go online and to make a gift and to be a part of the incredible team that God is going to use for transformation in the lives of families for months and months to come. Grab your computer and I'll walk you through that right now. All right, so you've got your browser up and hopefully you're ready to get going. Grab that tablet and you're going to go to a special website tonight to give your gift. As you're getting ready to type in, I just want to challenge, there are many of you that could give $1,000 gift tonight. I'm asking God that with those that are watching, at least a dozen people would consider $1,000 leadership gift. God changed the world with 12 ordinary people. We're looking for at least a dozen of you to consider being one of those. And before you kind of write that off and say $1,000 is a lot, it's $83 a month. I spend more than that on my cable, my internet, and I have 2 kids, so I don't even want to talk about the cell phone bill every month, right? So here's what you do. Just type in Give Life. I've actually already done this. Give Life Rocks, ROX.com. GiveLifeRocks.com. When you hit enter, it'll take you up to the giving page for tonight, and you'll see it right there. Family and Life Services, Life Choices. That's who you're giving to tonight. For those of you that I'm challenging to give $1,000, you can give it, of course, at one time, or if you want to hit the $83 mark right there and click on monthly, you can do that as well. Now, for those of us that can't give $1,000, most of us, if not all of us, could spare 4 quarters a day, right? $1 a day to partner with God to make a difference through Life Choices. You would just click on 30 and then make that a monthly donation. There are some of you that could give another amount. Maybe it's $5,000. Maybe it's $50,000. I don't know what God can do through you, but you can give whatever God lays on your heart to do. And when you do click that gift, you can click this button, which will cover the processing fees from the credit card company and will also help support the work of Life Choices. So let's say I'm going to do $1,000. I'm going to cover that cost of the processing. You can donate with PayPal if you have a PayPal account, or you can click on donate with a debit card or credit card. And then you'll just put in your card number, your expiration date, security code, first name, last name, and of course your address and your zip code. If you can give us your mobile number and your email address, that is so helpful because we'll be able to communicate with you and save some money on postage and printing. So if you'll just fill that out for us and then just click on the Donate Now button, you'll get a confirmation of your gift tonight. Thank you so much for standing with the Ministry of Life Choices and looking for many of you to step up and get involved. On behalf of the whole team here, God bless you. And as you are sitting there tonight looking at that form, maybe you need to grab the hand of your spouse, get your family together, and pray about that commitment that God is wanting you to make. We're going to allow God to speak to your heart over the next couple of minutes just with some music and a little graphic and ask you to pray about what God would have you to do to support the work of Life Choices. Thanks for being with us tonight.